the last share today that we can still say good morning in the beginning. So good morning, everyone. The topic of this share is Cholov Stam or Cholov Akum. What is not Cholov Yisroel called? And I would like to have some explanation about the laws of milk. In Hanukkah in particular, there is a tradition to eat dairy, to eat milk products, as one of the stories that happened connected with Hanukkah was involved with Jewish women give one of the generals of the enemy's army a milk and a cheese and whatever, and as a result of that, she was able to kill him afterwards, become tired. And it's in Shulchan Aruch that there is the tradition, beside eating oily food for Nes Pach Hashem, and we're also eating dairy food for that miracle. So I think it's appropriate now, as we are reaching the first day of Hanukkah, talking a little bit about the laws of milk, and what is thing that for sure everyone saw on products Cholov Yisroel, what is the difference between Cholov Yisroel and non-Cholov Yisroel, and what's the source for it, if there is any exceptions to consume not Cholov Yisroel, and finally, of course, what the Rabbi have to say about that, and we'll go through it one by one. Born in Israel and growing up down there in my first 20 years of my life, I was not exposed to a situation that there is a milk or milk products that are not Cholov Yisroel. And I remember the first time that it hits me to see that there is actually people that using not just Cholov Yisroel. It was a few years ago. I went to practice shchita in one of the countries around, and it was involved with a lot of traveling at this time. Literally, for 48 hours that I've been in that country, about 20 hours we spent on the road. And I've been together with me, with the shliach that have been down there. We also have the local rabbis in the communities that was not Chabad, was what we call modern Orthodox. And we traveled together, and it was one time that we have like 6 hours time break in between abattoirs and packaging factories, etc. So we decided to have some rest in one of the inns on the side road. And I remember going there, and I saw that one of the rabbis went to the chocolate bars that was in the hotel room, and he ate them. And I thought to myself, what's going on over here? It's not kosher. Well, in my mind, it was not kosher because it was not Cholov Yisroel. And afterwards, when we had the rest, and I saw that just before we left, he make himself coffee in the equipments of the hotel room using the milk that they provided down there. I already didn't ask any questions and didn't have anything in my mind. That's probably what he's doing. I'm not going to have any argument or any discussion with him because I'm not familiar with the topic. But after we finished that traveling, I went a little bit into this situation, into this sugya, I would say, into this topic, and tried to find out what is the source of Cholov Yisroel, what is the source of that's Israel milk, what makes it is Cholov Yisroel, and is that not using Cholov Yisroel? Is that so? What is why we don't use it, and what's the implication if we are using it? If there is any heiterim, if there is any ways how to use it, regardless, etc., etc. So that's what I would like to discuss today, and I hope we have even time for questions in the end. If I'm not going to take too long. Not to disturb with the other class that's going to start at 12. Okay, so let's go back to the sources. Let's start. There is a Mishnah, Masechta Avodah Zorah. It's discussed usually things that we don't or we do in order of go far away from Avodah Zorah, worship idols, etc. And also means that not being so close to a people that worship idols. In other words, creating some differentiation between us and the Goyim. And the Mishnah down there said, Elu dvorim shel Akum asurim, ve'ein isuron isur hanohem. This is what the Goyim do, and we don't allow to use, but this is not this is not in the level of things that we don't allow to have any benefit from. Because when you're talking about Avodah Zarah, we talk about worship idols and all of its equipment, we don't allow it even to have any benefit, not just not to use them, eat them, or whatever, but even sell them to others and pocket the money is also something that we don't allow to use. So after the Mishnah discussed the first two pokim of the Mishnah come to the third parak, and he said this is a thing that we don't allow to do, but the issue is not a beneficial issue, it's only issue not to eat. Cholov shechalov Akum ve'ein Yisroel roi'ehu. A milk that have been milked by a non-Jew, and it was not any Jewish people next to him to see the milking. Now, I just want to clarify before we continue that the word Akum means this is the initials of Oived, Koichovim, Umazolois, one who worship stars and Mazolois, how is that? Constellations. Yeah, thank you. But this expression is mainly for censorship reasons, in order of telling the censors that we are not talking about the Goyim nowadays, that they are not so stupid as they are, so undeveloped, I could say. For like the other Goyim that didn't understand what they're doing, and they thought that the stars and whatever, they are the creation of the world, but now we are living with very modern society, with Christians and whatever, and this is not what Chazal said, but that was only a way to get them, let us print our Sforim. The truth is that Cholov Akum, or any time that we mention Akum, this Rosh Teves of Oived Kochov Mazoles, means basically every non-Jew, whenever he do, and whatever he believe in. But we'll continue to use the term Cholov Akum because that's how people using it. The more explanation, why Cholov why a milk that has been milked by non-Jew is not to use by a Jewish people. Mishum ichlufe, it could be changed. The Goy could give you a milk and tell you that this milk has been milked from a kosher animal, but the fact is that it has been milked from non-kosher animal. Or, another reason, because maybe it's going to be mixed. It's going to be a mixing between cholov, a regular milk that comes from a cow or from a goat or whatever they used in this time, and there's a mixing with pig or any other non-kosher animals that producing milk. So it's going to be mixed in order of making it better. In fact, I remember reading a story when I was 10 years old or whatever, that it was a story about one of the greatest tzaddikim, the first generations of Hasidus, named Reb Simche Bunim Miparshischa, also known as to be the Holy Yid, a Yehudi HaKodesh from Parshischa, that it was once that his way was, until he became a Rebbe, until he became uncoveredly leading a Hasidic sect, he represented himself as a businessman, used to go from one yerid, from one market, a fair, to another, and they do some physical business and also spiritual business down there. And there is a lot of stories about that, very interesting. It might be the first shliach in the Hasidus world. But one of the things that one of the stories that go in him, it was that he once went to a inn together with his fellows businessmen, Yidden, from Yidden, and they are all eating their food, but they ask for coffee from the innkeeper. And everyone asks coffee with milk, and he asks coffee without milk. And when his coffee comes, so everyone start to ask him, why don't you get the milk? It's better, and whatever. He said, you know what, Cholov Akum. So I tell him, come on, look around, look at the window. You see the whole barn full of cows down there. What do you think? Where is he going to get his milk from? You sit down there milking cows. That's where the milk comes from. So what's your issue? And he said, no, there is Exer and Chachomim and whatever. And they start to laugh at him. It was kind of like a source of sometimes you find some entertainment. That could be also some entertainment. And the innkeeper saw that there is some discussion about the table, about coffee, etc. So they asked him, what's going on over here? What are you talking about? Now, go and explain the guy what they're talking about, that your milk is not kosher, or maybe not kosher. So now we just found out that the coffee is very tasty, and we wonder where it comes from, etc. Said, yeah, the beans come from whatever, but my top secret is the milk. Said, yeah, what's the top secret? Said, you see, everyone thinking that I'm bringing cow's milk, but the truth is that on every milk that I'm serving, there is also a pig milk, because I found that makes the taste of the coffee much better. So that's why you probably find your coffee so tasty. And they said, thank you very much. And the holy Jew did not even need to say anything. The message was clearly. Anyway, so that's about mixing the milk. Now, the Mishnah afterwards continue in saying, this is what you are allowed to eat. Elu mutorim ba'achilo. Cholov shechalovo akum. A milk that has been milking by a goy. Yisroel roe. And Yisroel see the process. A Yid see the process. And the Gemara, about that, the Gemara bring a brayso, another not Mishnah, but a paragraph that has been said by Tanoim as well, Tanu Rabbanon. Yoshev Yisroel betzad edroi shel Akum. A Yid is sitting next to a flock of a non-Jew. The Akum Cholov loy, and this guy is milking for him milk, umeviloi, and bring the milk to the Yid. Ve'en choshesh, and he allowed to. He allowed to do that. Now, the question is, what was exactly the situation down there? If there is in this flock, there is also non-kosher animals, why you should not have any suspicion? Like, why you drink it so easily? And if there is none, if there is not any non-kosher animals around, so what's the issue? So and this is actually very, very relevant. This paragraph and the answer and the question is very relevant to us, because in a modern world, as we all know, there is not many non-kosher animals in the cow milking industry. So the answer is that there is non-kosher animal down there, and it's because the Jewish people is sitting there, but he didn't actually see the process. We would think that this is not okay, because he didn't actually see the process and there is another non-kosher animal. But because the goy is actually afraid that the Yid is going to stand up every second and look around, what exactly are you doing? So because of that, he only milking kosher animal for him. Okay, that's the Mishnah and that's the Gemara. It's beautiful to know, but we are paskening with Shulchan Aruch. We are not paskening from the Mishnah. So what does the Shulchan Aruch have to say? So the whole discussion of Cholov Akum, of the non-Jew milk, I would call it, is happened to be in the sect of Yeridea, the second part of Shulchan Aruch after Chaim, and Simen 115 Kuftes Vov. This is three seifim down there about milk, about cheese, and about butter. And I can tell you from now that there is also different level of strictness there is different restrictions about milk, about cheese, and about butter, based on that Mishnah and the way how the Shulchan Aruch explained it. And there is fourth level that don't even mention in Shulchan Aruch, and it happened to be the most popular question that people have been asked about this topic. We are talking about milk powder that was not exist on the time of the Shulchan Aruch, and it exists big time today, and has been used in many products in the food industry. And the question is if milk powder needs to be Cholov Yisroel as well. We are come to it in Yirtzeh Hashem later on. Now, the Shulchan Aruch said that a milk that have been Cholov shechalovo Akum and Yisroel roeu, also a milk that have been milked by the non-Jew and the Jewish person don't see it, it's prohibited, we don't allow to use it. Shema erev bo Cholov Tomeh, maybe there is a mix of non-kosher milk down there. And then afterwards there is a details about if he is doing it in his house and the Yisroel sitting outside and they see. and we are not going to go into these details now. What important is that there is 2 points that important to know. Number one is that the Ramo said, on the Shulchan Aruch, he said that a Jewish person needs to be from the beginning of the milk until the end, and also the equipments should be different equipments because there is maybe a little bit of leftover non-kosher milk stay down there, called tzachzuchei Cholov in the words of the Shulchan Aruch. But b'di'avad, if what happened, and the Jewish person was not there to check the whole equipments before, and there is and he also he missed the first part of the milking, it's fine. The Taz on this seif, one of the commentaries, most commentaries of the Shulchan Aruch said that it should be a physical presence of a Jewish person. It's not enough to have, like most of the hashgocha system in the food industry is based on what we call yoitze v'nichnas. When there is a mashgiach that comes and goes, and the owner of the business would never know when is the exact the mashgiach is coming. So he could come on every given moment and check every detail that he wants. So that keeps them under some level of it's called mirtas, under a level of fear, kind of, to do the right thing, because you never know when the Mashiach will come and they just catch and do the non-right thing. So the Taz said that when you're talking about milk and the inspection of Cholov Yisroel, it's not enough. It's not enough to have Yoitze v'Nichnas. You have to be there from the beginning till the end, lechatchile. But the ovad, if you don't, then you don't, but it's also kosher, but lechatchile, that's how it should be. By the way, Thank you, Sean. I have no idea. I didn't check the practicality how it works over here, but I think yes. I would assume so. Now, there is, if you are taking what the Ramo said about the Jewish person checking and using different equipments, that's actually bring us to the whole thing about there is OUD and there is OUDE. What's DE? What's the difference between OUD and OUDE? D means it's dairy, it's not Cholov Yisroel, and DE means it's not dairy, it's not considered to be milchik, but it's been made with dairy equipments. So, according to what we said over here, this is actually the equipment that you do, that you prepared the milk, is actually their level of restrictness is much higher than regular thing. In other words, it could be that the product that you're holding now is a parv, 100% parv, no issue. You can eat it straight after fleishik or even together with fleishik. But according this Ramo and Tav, there is still issue of Cholov Yisroel because it has been made with non-Cholov Yisroel equipments. So that's for general knowledge. Let's move on from the time of the Shulchan Aruch and the time of the Gemara and the time of the Mishnah towards our time. We don't have a goy that milking the cows for us in his backyard and give us a cup of fresh milk. Here you are, and now we need to worry about if it's from cows, if it's from the other creatures that you have in his yard or whatever. Actually, I have some friends in those countries, shluchim, that they are standing whatever far away from any other places, that they're actually going, they don't do it every day, they do it mainly before Shavuos, because in Shavuos there is also Indian of eating dairy, so they go into a farm, and down there the whole process of Cholov Yisroel. We are here in Melbourne, we are going to the supermarket, and we buy milk, and we buy cheese, and we buy all of the dairy products that we have. And the companies that they have the production of these dairy products are very, very big, and they are very strong government regulations. So how to imply what the Gemara said, what the Mishnah said, what the Shulchan Aruch said in our time. So let's step one step at a time. Let's say if the Shulchan Aruch and everyone discussing the issue of is Cholov Yisroel and non-Cholov Yisroel applies also when you have for sure any issue, any question that this Cholov comes 100% for a milk cow. There is no way in the world that another milk will be mixed in. So it's actually, it's not true that we always have milk cows, because someone sent me a picture not so long ago from a supermarket in our new friends, Dubai and Abu Dhabi and whatever, that they have down there very fine camel milk that they're selling it, and there is also a ice cream that's made from camel milk and other dairy production. But this, even there, that there is a lot of camels, of course, it's Saudi Arabia down there, the camel milk productions are 10 times more expensive than cow milk, because it's more expensive. You get less milk, and the whole production is different and whatever. So mixing is not a big issue down there, because you are not mixing very expensive stuff into very cheap stuff to make the cheap stuff better. It's just financially it doesn't make sense. So even if there is places that they use it, they are not mixing in. And if they said milk cow, it's a milk cow. Yes.
I found myself about 18 months ago sitting on a bus next to a commercial shop. Speak up.
Yeah.
Of the OU. I actually raised this question. I said to Australians who come from the place, what is there an issue because of camel milk? And he gave me the same answer you just gave now. The camel milk is much more expensive. He said the OU looked into it because he was in America. There was camel milk as well, and they looked into it, and they decided that because of expense and so on,
It's not make sense.
it's not a kashash.
Yeah.
Not much.
Yeah, it's more than that. It's more that even the factories that they made this milk is usually different factories, because the way how to make the milk into milk production is different, because the nature of the milk is different. So there is, by the way, there is in the rest of the world also, you can find, if you really want, you can find camel milk, you can find pig milk, you can find donkey milk sometimes, especially in the health stores. It's like they have some health relative, whatever. Don't ask me, so you can find different kinds of milk, but they are always much, much more expensive, because still 95% at least of the milk in the world made out of cows, or in certain countries from goats, but it's kosher basically. Yeah, but no, I'm saying that 95% of the milk, at least 95%, if not more, comes from kosher sources. So, and if there is not, it's actually very much more expensive, and because of that, very refined. So, how today is that bichlal, is that laws of non-kosher, non-Cholov Yisroel milk, if that even applies? So, the Ramo said that B'di'evad is mutar. B'di'evad, if you know for sure that there is no Cholov, there is not any possibility to get non-kosher milk, then b'di'ovad, not lechatchila, it's not the thing that you command in the first place, but if that's what you have, then you're allowed to use the cow milk that have no chash of mixing, no possibility of mixing or changing. The Taz that we mentioned before, he said no, even b'di'ovad you don't allow to, even if there is no any chash that there is going to be mixed with not any kosher milk. Now, few generations afterwards, it was a big machloikes between the Radbaz and Pri Chodosh, that both of them, it's commentary on the Shulchan Aruch as well, they said it's okay. But we all heard about the Chassam Sofer, one of the greatest poskim in the Ashkenaz Jewry since 250 years ago until now. He said, he gave very interesting statement. He said that he compared the Gezerah of Cholov Akum to the same level of Gezerah of Yain Nesech. They are both mentioned in the same Masechta, Masechta Avodah Zarah. Yain Nesach though is even also have any benefit from, unlike the milk. But he said, this is Gezerah of Chachomim, this is Gezerah of Chachomim, it's the same. And we all know that even Yain Nesach, the main source, Yain Nesach means a wine that was not been made by the Jewish people, or the non-Jewish, even if it made, the non-Jewish touch it. So we all know why, because as the Gemara said that Stam Machsheves Goy Laved Zorah, when usually non-Jewish person, what do you have in his mind? Of course, worship idols. What else he could have in mind? So because of that, whenever he touches a bottle of wine, he's thinking about, I will take this one and I'll put it inside in front of my God. So because of that, the wine is also now. One second. Moving a little bit forward towards our days. We don't have so many goyim that are so dedicated to their avodah zarah that whenever they see a bottle of wine, they think, oh, now I'm going to take it, I'm going to use it as a sacrifice to my God. It's not the situation. Most of them are atheists, and even if they are many practicing not involved with any wine whatsoever, whatever, there is. If you are talking about facts, this fact is not relevant anymore, but we still have this thing of Stam Yenom. And Stam Yenom means that even if it's Stam, even if we don't have any real chashash that is going to be avodah zarah involved, we still saying no, and we still need to have a hechsher on a wine, and we still don't use a wine that a goy touches, if it's not mevushal, of course, until our days. The Stam Sofer, he said exactly the same about the Cholov. Even if there is not even chashash of the original chashash, why the decree have been made, even though it's the same level. You said no, you said that a Jew needs to see it, so a Jew needs to see it, full stop. There is no way around that. And by the way, this is also answering the question from the topic, from the title of this year, is non-Cholov Yisroel, is that Cholov Stam or Cholov Akum? What is this Cholov Stam come from? What's the difference between Cholov Akum and Cholov Stam? I tried to find out, I couldn't. The first place that I saw it written was about 70 years ago in a magazine called Hamo Oil, made by Rabbi Amsel. There's many people that know it probably. That's the earliest source I saw it written. They said that this differentiation has been made by Rabbi Moshe Feinstein based on the fact that today we have no chashash of really non-kosher milk. So because of that, it's only Cholov Stam. It's not really Cholov Akum. But it's actually hinted to this gezerah of this way of learning of the Stam Sefer, that it said that exactly the same that we have Stam Yenom, and because of that, not any one Jew in the world that consider himself keep Torah mitzvahs buying a wine without hechsher. It's the same way it's supposed to be to the milk. Not even one Jew around the world will buy a milk without a hechsher and without being Cholov Yisroel. So this, I want to say that this is very extreme opinion, and many people say otherwise, as we are going to mention, but we need to know that this is a valid opinion, that many Jewish people following this path. Yes, please, sorry. Oh, that's another thing. Yeah, you are right, that's another thing. And people also apply that to the Cholov Yisroel. And because of that, even if there is stuff that are not under the Gzeirah, but he said because it has been mentioned in the Mishnah down there, from the Mishnah, from Masechta Avodah Zarah, it has been mentioned as something that we supposed to have differentiation between us and the Goyim, like Pas Akum, like Bishul Akum, and the rest. This applies till today, and even more than any other generation before. So, yeah, we'll come to it in a second. Now, let's go a little bit forward. One of the poskim wants to make a pshore between those two extreme opinions. That one said it's absolutely also, and the other one said that's fine. Said if there is a place that people used to drink, that there is no chashash whatsoever, and people become used to drink regular milk, then they could continue their minhag. But if there is a place that they didn't have, that they know that the minhag is not true, that's for sure. Don't break the minhag. And most relevant here to Australia, even if there is a place that have no minhag mishonim kadmonios, we don't have a tradition of minhogim, what exactly is our minhag is, don't start. Don't start use the Cholov Akum, just keep the differentiation as it was before. Okay, so that was when there is no chash of Cholov Akum, but now in the last 100 years, or even a little bit less, there is another factor that changed some things. And this factor is the government regulation. It used to be, even the beginning of this of the industrial revolution and the food industry, that you get the food, but you didn't really know what's inside. And it was a lot of nasty surprises sometimes to get in your food what you found in your food. But let's say, especially in the last 50 years, because of all of the energy businesses and the nuts and dairy and whatever, the regulation about what exactly you have in the product that you sell to people are very, very strong. It's so strong that a person could lose his license to producing food and be sued for unbelievable amount if he's actually playing around with that. So is that make the thing different? Because now you don't just need to rely on the guy to tell you, yeah, it's from a cow. And it's not just that there is not any other source that he can get his milk from. There is also a mirtas from the government. There is a very, very fear that every person that holds a food production have from the government, because if the government is going to catch him, he is going to face very, very severe consequences, and basically is not going to make any panos anymore. So, does that make any changes? I think if we can summarize the facts and try to answer this question, we have mainly three questions over here. Number one, is gezerah of Cholov Akum is like what the Chassam Sofer wants to say? Is that a pure gezerah like Stam Yenom? And because of that, as today, 90% of the goyim doesn't think about Avodah Zarah when they hold wine, at least 90. Doesn't think about Avodah Zarah when they're holding wine, but we still only buy wine from Hersher with a proper stamp, etc., etc. The same thing supposed to be applied to Cholov, yes or no? That's one question. Another question, Yisroel ro'ehu, a Jewish people sing it. Is this needed to make sure that there is no mixing, or there is some spiritual thing about a Jewish person see the milk? If you said that there is only basically fact check, you need to make sure that there is not any mixing. Is the government supervision, is the government regulation is enough to say, yes, we have a case, we are not choishes to any mixing of any cholov. One of the most famous poskim that dealt with this question in the last, that was relevant in the next decade, in the last decades, was the posek Reb Moshe Feinstein. I don't think we need to introduce Reb Moshe Feinstein. He's well-known posek. He was considered to the main and the most senior authority of Piskei Halacha in America after the Holocaust. Passed away exactly 40 years ago in Purim. Yeah, 86. 86, yes, so 39 years ago. And he answers as follows. First of all, he is declaring very clearly that he is not holding from the Chassam Sofer's statement. So that means that it's not a gzera, you can't compare it, it is a gzera, but you can't compare it to Yain Nesach and Stam Yenom, to the wine situation. He answered on the second question that the government, that the fact that we need a Jewish supervision on the milk is only because we actually need to know the fact. We need to know what happened over here, if there is a mixing or not. And because a Jewish person is the only one who is Ne'eman, because a Goy doesn't trust to give a testimony about a Jewish thing, because of that we need a Jewish person. And if you have a government regulations that are very strict, and even the owner, the non-Jewish owner, understand how strict they are, no problem. Then it's enough for us. We don't need anything anywhere forwards. But beside the fact that there is many poskim that did not get this psak, for example, the Mishnah Aloches of Menashe Akotum, Menashe Klein, was also a very known posek. He also passed away, but about 20 years after Moshe. He said that first of all there is a svor of the Chafetz Chaim, there is a svor of Chassam Sofer that we mentioned before, compared to the wine, and he also the first one to mention what we just said before, that what is the logic behind the decree of non-Jewish milk is not just about mixing. It's actually, yes, it is about mixing, but not just mixing milk. It's about mixing people. We want to differentiate between Hamavdi ben Yisroel, how do you say in Avdole, ben Yisroel Oamim. We need to make a differentiation between the Jewish people and non-Jewish people. And one of the things that make the most people, that the people feel close the most, is food, is drink, is to sitting together and have the same food. So because of that, he said that the Gzera of Cholov is coming. We can't just ignore this aspect of the Gzera, and this is actually applied until our days, because if we are keeping only Cholov Yisroel, that means that by default we are differentiate ourselves from the non-Jewish people. He said one more interesting thing. I did not have time to check how is that actually apply in the real world, especially in our days. He passed away. The Mishnah Orches passed away just under 20 years ago. So I'm not sure what if he said over here still apply. Maybe there is people that can make that will help me with that. But he said that by even according the government regulations, there is certain percentage, small one, that you don't have to report. You don't have to report. You can do whatever you want in this. If there is only a very small portion of other things that you're mixing in, it could be some preservative, it could be something, some taste improvers or whatever, but you don't have to say it. So he said, in this, that's exactly it, why the taste of the milk is different from one company to another, because people are adding a little bit more here and there, and you have no idea what they put down there. So let's keep the Cholov Yisroel thing. Usually, person that have Cholov, that have the milk, is one of the most allergy things. So if you add chemicals to the milk or a different kind of milk, I don't know if, again, I don't know what the situation is today. Maybe it could be changed, but whatever. Yes, please.
The government regulation is that the dairy farmers provide the milk at a certain temperature, at 4 degrees, straight after milking. It's kept in a chiller. Then the truck comes to pick it up. They do a test. They take a sample, they do a test. They do not mix it with the previous farm's milk. And before it is delivered or dumped into the rest of the milk in the factory where the cheese and milk are produced and pasteurized, then before that happens, all the results have to come in, and if there is anything untoward or different in the milk, there is no mixing whatsoever, then the milk is dumped.
Okay, good to know. I've just said because that's what he said. It's good to know that the situation has been different. Okay.
All the cups that goes onto the others, they're all automatically hosed and cleaned, and the others are too. And the actual system pulls by vacuum any remnants of the milk previously milked, and it's washed. So that's the problem.
Okay, so that's how the regulations works. Okay, thank you. It's good to know. I just said over here what he said, and then I said I didn't have time to see what the situation is. So thank you very much.
Once the test is done, it gets sent to the factory. The additives can be put in at the point of the factory. Yeah. I guess even if it's not made by the farmer, it could be made by the producer in the factory or whatever. But that's another discussion, and we're going to touch it. Yes, Rabbi Jackson, want to say something?
I think the Mishnah Halachas passed away in 2011. I don't know.
I remember, if I'm not mistaken, Toshin Samechvov, 2006 or 2007. But that's anyway. Okay. Now, if we are taking this, that there is some preservative or there is some adding that we don't, that either the farmer or the industrial person or whatever doesn't need to report, then we have another thing. Usually, if you add very small quantities to a big mixture, it's because this small adding have tremendous effect on the whole mixture. In the halachic criteria for such substance called milse de ovide letame, a thing that has been made to taste, basically, to add taste, to change the taste or whatever, and this is a filu be'elef bottle. It's never going to be nullified. It's not all of the rules of bottle b'shishim or bottle be'elef, that the mixture with bigger quantities is going to nullify the dvar isur, the prohibited stuff, is not applied over here, because if it's made to change the taste or to add some different results to the mass product, that means it never be nullified. So that's another thing to take into consideration. Okay, so I just want to add about Reb Moshe. Even Reb Moshe himself, that said that you're allowed to, Cholov companies it's called, to buy a milk from a big companies that have very strong regulations, even he said, he clarified it in a letter that he wrote in his handwriting, just before he passed away. He said that was depends on a very, very strong situations, and it's not general hater. It's only hater in three things. First of all, b'diavad. B'diavad means la'achar ma'aseh. If you already did, then it's fine. Number two, it's only works in modern societies when there is government regulations. B, the government regulations is not just to hang up nicely on the wall, but also people actually obey it fully. And C, this is only when you don't have any other option to get any milk. Only when these three things is applied, only then people can use his hater. Now, the fact is that in our days, in our society, it's very rare to find a very modern country, first world country, that have no access whatsoever to Cholov Yisroel. So the hater of Reb Moshe needs to be used very, very, in a very moderate way. Let's say it's not a blanket hater. It's only for specific circumstances that have been mentioned before. Till now, we spoke about milk that have been spilled around. What about cheese? And what about butter? So let's go to cheese one step at a time. What time is it actually? If you mention time, I need to finish it already. So I'll do it quickly. In the milk, in Gvinois Akum, the cheese that has been made by non-Jew, there is another level of restrictions. It's actually more restricted than Cholov. Why? Because the Mishnah mentioned particularly about Gvinois, about cheese, that we don't allow to. So, even people that say that milk is fine under the regulations or whatever, with cheeses they have different issues. They have more restricted level. So some people said that over in a cheese that have been made by non-Jew, the fact that the person stand there and watch is not enough. The person needs to actually do something, maybe mixing the milk product together with the thing, or maybe lift up things, spill the milk or whatever. Do something in the production. Otherwise, we don't allow to, even if the Cholov is Cholov Yisroel. That's one thing. Another opinion said that the adding of the fact could be also if a Jew person is in partnership with the non-Jew in this business of cheeses. If they have any partnership together, that means it's not just owned by a non-Jew, it's owned by a Yid, and then mashgiach, that literally only watching, that's fine. I'm sorry, there is a lot of what to say about cheeses, but I need to cut because Rabbi Japs is waiting. What about butter? Butter is actually easier than milk. Why? Because the two bring two reasons. Because first of all, the Mishnah mentioned milk, the Mishnah mentioned cheese, the Mishnah doesn't mention chemo, doesn't mention butter. So if there is a gzera, the gzera is about the gzera. It's not relevant for the thing. It's not about the gzera. For example, yain nesach, the wine. The wine is, we're not allowed to drink wine with goyim. We don't allow to drink a wine that a goy has been touched with. But What about vodka? What about whiskey? What about any other alcoholic beverage? There is no problem. Why? Because it's not choshev, because it's not in the same level of wine. I think you find that the other alcoholic beverages are considered today to be much higher level than wine. But because it was not in the gzera, that was not what Chachamim talk about, then it's not in the gzera, full stop. So the people want to say about butter the same way. Another thing is actually connected to the nature of the butter, that it can't be made physically from non-kosher milk. It's only could made from a cow milk, maybe goat, I don't know, I'm not so mumche, but it can't be made from horse milk, from donkey milk, from pig milk, or camel milk, or whatever. So because of that, he said that chemo is fine. Some people said it's fine. The Shulchan Aruch pasken that if you are in a place that there is people that but there is another people that said that you should differentiate from the chema as well. Number one, maybe there is a mixing, and in the mixing it's not become literally part of the butter, but it's still there is some liquids that actually captured inside the butter, and when you eat it, you're going to eat the non-kosher milk as well. So there is opinions that say that if you cook the butter, that means all the liquids for sure go out, then it's fine. The Rosh said what we mentioned before, because of the gzera of Cholov Akum is to differentiate between Yisroel or Amim, then chemo is also considered, and that's why it's also. And the Shulchan Aruch pasken that if you are in a place that people using chemo, then use it, and if Roiv Bnei Amokim, if most of the people don't do it, then don't. And if there is no minhag, if there is not really thing that people do, and you cook your own non-Jew butter, then it's fine. And there are more add to it that even lechatchila you allowed to cook the chemo, to cook the butter, and use it. I just want to touch literally on two more points. One is milk powder, because that's really, really relevant. I think more than most of the things that we discussed until now. And afterwards was the Rebbe's opinion. It took me 5 minutes. I'm sorry. Okay, milk powder. Many people, much more than chemo even, much more than the butter, many people said there is no issue. Number one, again, milk powder, for some reason, some unknown reason, is not mentioned in the Mishnah or in the Gemara. Of course it's known. Why we don't? Because people didn't know how to do it. And number two, even if there is, even if you said that doesn't matter, mention yes or no, it's not like a gvino, physically, it's more similar. It's similar to a chemo more than it's similar to a cheese. Why? Because also milk powder, you only made it from a cow milk for very, very. There is from a lot of reasons. There is people that said it's mutar b'di'eved because even in they said that cheese, the issue of the cheese is different than the issue of cholov. And this new situation become only after it's changed from being milk to being cheese. So that means that when you change the shape, when you change the way how you pack up the milk, I would say, from liquid to a solid, then the gzera of milk have been cancelled, and now there is a new gzera of gevino. If you're taking the powder, before it was liquid, and now it's dust. That's how you call it in the halacha. But there is no any gzera on dust. So the gzera of cholov is not relevant anymore. The gzera of dust, there is no gzera on dust, so no problem. There is a few other places, as Kanaron, Levush Mordechai, the Rav Yosef Mashash, the Rav of Haifa, Sephardic Rav of Haifa, until he passed away 50 years ago, he said that he don't understand the people that say that there is an issue over here. Why are you saying that? It's Baltashris. But about them, I must say that Ovadia said that he's too makel. His heiter, for example, on use electricity on Shabbos is unbelievable, so he said don't rely on them. Just to put things into proportion, though, many of these heiterim have been said and in Eretz Yisrael, for Bnei Eretz Yisrael, in the time, on the 50s, when basically the only milk that you can get in Eretz Yisrael was coming from a powder milk that has been imported from other countries. So then the question was if to drink milk or not. In other words, they didn't have any other option. So because of that, many Rabbonim, even the Gdolim, they mentioned Chazon Ish, that he actually once enforced the Yeshiva Bocher to drink milk that have been made from milk powder to mixed with water to be healthy and whatever. So, but the situation down there have some effect until our days, that the Rabbanut Rashit in Eretz Yisrael, as I mentioned before, not allowed to import to Eretz Yisrael any non-Cholov Yisrael products, not milk, not cheese, no nothing, but if there is a chocolates or other dairy product that have non-Cholov Yisrael powder milk, they allow to, just that you have to say it clearly that kosher le'ochlei avkas cholov nochri. Now, and whenever if you decided to go with this heiterim, you always need to remember that most of the products that have non-Cholov Yisrael milk powder are, most of the times, are very complicated products. They have a lot of other ingredients. The way how to put them all together is also complicated. It must have a good hechsher beside the questions of if it's Cholov Yisrael or not. I would like to take 1 minute and to quote some of the Rebbe's responses about Cholov Yisrael and Cholov Akum. And I guess you are guessing what is the Rebbe's opinion about that. Yeah? Anyway, let's do it because I can tell you that I was surprised of what the Rebbe said. Number one, the Rebbe said there is a story of that Doiv Ber Levi used to say that the Rebbe told that he asked the Rebbe if to give a hechsher of non-Cholov Yisrael, and the Rebbe said yes, so at least people will eat kosher from the other aspect of the other products. But that's the only positive answer I got. So be ready for the next. It was a shliach that asked the Rebbe in Chodesh Marcheshvan Tovshin Chovov about just under 60 years ago. He said that his 1.5-year-old son drank a quarter of a teaspoon full of non-Cholov Yisrael milk. What should he do? The Rebbe said you have to give to tzedakah $41, 40 because that's the gematria of milk, Cholov, and $1 more extra, and that's the tikkun of the kid drinking. Now, I don't have the time even to explain how kid under the age of chinuch, not meloi lugmov, he did it by mistake. No, if you want to use a term, there is the whole set. There is not even one option of heter that not apply in this case. But still, the Rebbe make it his business to make sure that there is a tikkun needs, because there is issue with the issue of non-Cholov Yisrael is even relevant to small kids. And in the Igros Kodesh, the Rebbe mentioned clearly that Cholov Yisrael is bringing strength in Emunah, and vice versa. People that not makpid on Cholov Yisrael, that makes them having sfekos in the Emunah. And as there is also a story from the time of the Alter Rebbe that someone came to him with his son-in-law, it was a big lamb and a big Talmid Chochem, and he complains that this Tachshit that he has started to ask questions about Hashem, about Yiddishkeit, why we do this and why we do that, what's going on over here? So the Alter Rebbe told them that this person, without his knowledge, he actually drank non-Cholov Yisrael, and he gave him some tikkun, and after this tikkun, the person healed. And his emunah becomes strong again. The Rebbe said on Igros Kodesh, Chelek Tezvov, the Rebbe give a yishar koach to a person that organized Cholov Yisrael, even for places that have that kids that come from non-from houses. And the Rebbe said that this is actually make their education better, begashmis uberuchnias. The Rebbe even said, when he asked about a question, if a person that is sick, and the doctors the doctors said that he should drink milk, and he have no Cholov Yisrael around them, the Rebbe said, the words very, very strong words. The Rebbe said, En beyodi likach achrayus alanal. I don't have enough brighter places, enough shoulders to take responsibility on his emunah to let them drink non-Cholov Yisrael, even if he's sick. And I think it's blowing my mind. And That's it, basically. So I guess that when we will be makpid on the kashrus, even more than what is said in the law, but also the spirit of the laws, that will give us psichas hamoach v'alev, to have open mind and open heart to avodas Hashem, and the Geula will come. Take it from me, Adonai Hashem.